OG Mack is an American gang leader renowned for founding the United Blood Nation while serving a prison sentence at Rikers Island, New York in 1993. His criminal career and leadership within the gang have made him one of the most infamous figures in the history of U.S. gang culture. Omar Porti, also known as OG Mack, the founder of the United Blood Nation gang, was born circa 1969. Specific details regarding the exact day and month in his birth are not publicly documented. OG Mack was raised by his grandmother. Early criminal activity includes arrest at 16 years old for armed robbery. Porti began his life of crime at a young age, committing robberies at just 16. His involvement in a high-profile murder case in 1987 would later play a significant role in his life. On August 16, 1987, Porti was an eyewitness to the shooting of Tara's Joyner by Don Taylor in the Bronx. Porti's testimony helped convict Taylor in 1989, resulting in a sentence of 22 and a half years to life. However, Porti was facing serious charges of his own at the time, including 2 first-degree robbery convictions, which could have led to a prison sentence of 16 and a half to 50 years. In exchange for his testimony against Taylor, Porti was allowed to plead to a lesser sentence of 2 to 6 years, serving only 21 months before being released in 1990.
Richard Cooper, a.k.a. Peabody from Divin Lane Bloods, grew up in the South Central and Pasadena areas of Los Angeles, which were the primary territories of the Divin Lane Bloods, originally known as the Divin Lane Gangsters. By the early 1980s, he had established himself as a high-ranking member, original OG within the Divin Lanes, which were known for their early involvement in high-stakes drug trafficking. During this period, blood sets like the Divin Lanes shifted from local street defense to organized distribution, particularly crack cocaine, which led to increased federal and local law enforcement scrutiny. While the exact charges that led to his 1984 stint in the Los Angeles County Jail are often cited broadly as gang-related violence or drug offenses, they were serious enough to secure his place among other high-ranking gang leaders in the high-power units of the jail system. According to gang history and various street accounts, Peabody Richard Cooper is notorious for a specific violent incident during the height of the Crips and Bloods rivalry in the 1980s. The story is frequently cited as one of the most chilling examples of the brutality of that era, the casket incident. In 1983, Cedric Peabody Cooper allegedly confronted a rival Crip gang member at gunpoint. According to these accounts, he drew the outline of a coffin on the ground, forced the rival to lie inside the drawing, executed the individual while they were lying there in a makeshift casket.
While serving time for weapon possession charge in 1992, Porti met Leonard OG Deadeye McKenzie, specifically in the GMDC C73 housing area. Porti began forming the 14 original sets of the UBN, including the Valentine Bloods and Gangsta Killer Bloods. According to early accounts, Porti claimed his initial efforts included efforts to fight back against perceived oppression. The UBN established a brutal reputation under his early leadership, notably through the Buck 50 initiative, which involved cutting rivals to need 150 stitches. Direct violent acts while at the head of the gang include jailhouse assaults. In 1996, while at Rikers Island, Mag led a vicious attack against members of the Lion King rival gang. He reportedly used a spearhead carved from a Scrabble game piece to carry out the assault. The UBN, under his leadership, became notorious for the Buck 50, where members slashed the faces of non-gang members to the point of requiring 150 stitches. It was also said that OG Mack conducted violent initiations. Mack mandated that new members, some as young as 16, undergo 31-second beatings to prove their loyalty.
Ironically, this iconic picture that everybody see of Peabody, the CDC number that's in here is the same CDC number that Peabody is going by today. By the late 1970s and early 1980s, blood sets in Los Angeles were beginning to fight each other as much as they fought other rivals. Sets like the Diverlanes, the Swans, the Crenshaw Mafias were often at odds over territory and personal beef. The Crips outnumbered Bloods significantly, often estimated at 10 to 1. Leaders like Peabody realized that if Bloods didn't stop fighting each other, they would be wiped out. As members went into the California Department of Corrections, they needed a unified front to survive against the massive Crip population behind bars. Peabody, Richard Cooper, as a leader of the Diverlane Bloods, was one of the most respected OGs. He used his influence to call for a nation under the Blood banner. Peabody and other OGs from sets like the Piru Street Boys and the Brims began meeting to establish Blood Love. This was the precursor to what some called the United Blood Nation of the West. Peabody is often linked to the 031 code. O, no blood shall kill another blood. 3, for the 3 dots of the dog paw: love, loyalty, and respect. 1 is one nation. This code was later adapted by the UBN New York, which is why many East Coast members mistakenly believe Peabody founded their specific organization. In reality, Peabody founded the spirit and the rules that the New York founders later copied to.
Porty was released from prison on June 22, 1999. But rather than turning away from crime, he built the Bloods into a powerful street gang, operating out of the Bronx. Porty formed various subgroups within the Bloods, including the 1-8 Trey, Sex Money Murder, and the Gangster Killer Bloods. His reign included overseeing a large criminal empire, involving in drug trafficking, prostitution, and theft. Porty was known for recruiting young gang members and orchestrating violent acts against rival drug dealers. In August 2002, Porty's criminal empire came to an end when he was convicted on 10 charges, including racketeering, murder, conspiracy, credit card fraud, and drug trafficking. On April 14, 2003, he was sentenced to 50 years in prison by federal court judge Naomi Rears Buchwald. Porty is currently incarcerated at the ADX Florence Supermax prison in Colorado. In 2021, he was temporarily moved to the United States Penitentiary, Florence High, as part of the ADX step-down program, before being returned to the ADX in 2022.
It's always something you can do better, but you got to look who you asking to do better. The people that's in the position to talk to the kids don't talk to the kids. See, you got people in the wrong position. Anybody that wants power don't deserve it, because to have power is a responsibility. And if you're not going to do the right thing with it, you shouldn't have it. And a lot of people on the street, especially gang members that got power, they ain't earned it. And anytime they think it's about them, it's not. Yeah, that's a whole nother book. They're going to tell you all kinds of different stories about me and probably never been around me. So, I really don't care. Yeah. So, what people think about me is what I think about me. My family think about me. And good people think about me, real people. I'll never care about what busters or liars or cowards I never cared about any of that.
So how long have you been incarcerated?
Today, I started on my 47th year, September 20th, 1979.
Wow. How old were you when you went to prison?
I was 19.
19? And
yes, ma'am.
What do you do to keep busy in prison?
Say that again?
What do you do to pass the time by?
Shit. Everything. Well, I take a lot of classes, but when I first came to prison, they wouldn't let lifers out, so I was doing a lot of other things. But now that I'm programming, I'm trying to go home, and it might happen next month.